Recognizing and responding to distress in students. The aim of this presentation is to provide a straightforward and engaging overview of what faculty and campus staff should know in order to identify a student who may be experiencing distress or struggling with a mental health concern and how to respond. This presentation is a collaborative effort between university professionals from the Dean of Students Care Team, Health and Counseling Services, Health Prevention and Promotion Services, Services for Students with Disabilities, Residential Life, and the JED Foundation. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to know how to identify signs of distress in a student, how to support a student in distress, and where to seek additional support when a student presents in distress and/or crisis. Your role as a support. University faculty and staff are positioned to have frequent and consistent interactions with students. These routine interactions are opportunities. They allow for the recognition of changes in a student's overall mood, personality, and/or behaviors, as well as providing the space to build rapport to address concerns if or when they present. Things you can do to support a student in distress include knowing how to recognize when a student is in distress. Listen to your intuition. If you feel something seems off or not right, trust your instincts. Knowing how to engage a student in conversation when in distress. This means knowing what to say and how to follow up. Offer an open invitation for conversation. Communication should be open, compassionate, and non-judgmental. Knowing how to create a space for students to feel connected and supported. Understanding campus resources and connecting students as appropriate. Incorporating campus resources in your class syllabus. Offering space for students to build relationships with each other and with you. Help students feel comfortable and confident in seeking support with you, university resources, and with each other. Common signs and challenges. How a person feels, thinks, and behaves can all be channels through which they convey problems or concerns. These can be an indication that professional help may be needed. Problems may be beyond usual stress levels if they are too intense, lasting too long, too disruptive, getting worse, recurring or following the same pattern, dangerous for self or others, or if your gut tells you something isn't right. Looking for changes in usual areas of functioning can alert you to a problem. These are the common areas of functioning that might change when there is a problem. Change in a person's functioning is the most useful indicator of a mental health concern. For example, faculty should consider changes in a student's academic performance and attendance. These areas might suggest an emotional, psychosocial, or mental health problem. Engaging with students. When you have recognized and/or decided that the student may be experiencing a problem, the next step would be to initiate a conversation with that student. It is helpful to find a quiet and private space to speak with the student and to express your concerns. When talking with students, it is extremely helpful to be direct in your conversation. Explain specifically why you are speaking to the student. This makes it harder for the student to dismiss your inquiry. Show the student compassion and empathy. Tell them why you are worried about them. Explain why you are concerned directly. Tell them what you have noticed that made you worry in the first place. Actively listen to the student while talking to them. Don't feel like you must solve the student's problems or that you need to have the right words. Simply provide space for the person to share what's on their mind. If the student is unwilling to engage or isn't receptive of support, they may not believe there is a problem. They may be afraid to face the possibility that there is a problem. They may be worried about consequences, or they may be worried that facing the problem will make it worse. If someone is not immediately in harm's way and won't accept your help, try to keep the lines of communication open. Check in with professional staff or other support options on campus, including the University Counseling Center, the care team, or an academic advisor. Follow up with the student. This follow-up may need to occur more than once. If you think this will be the case, let the student know that you may be reaching out to them again to check in with them. If a student is having an emergency and refuses help, involve the appropriate university professionals, or call 911. There are key signs to watch for when a distressed student can be identified as high risk. The student may be damaging property, physically aggressive or violent, threatening others, or making suicidal or homicidal threats. When engaging with students who are in high-risk situations, there are indirect and direct statements or behaviors that may be present. Indirect statements or behaviors may include talking about wanting to end it all, wishing something would happen to them, giving away personal possessions, posting goodbye on social media, expressing guilt, hopelessness, or depression, or withdrawal from everyday life. Direct statements or behaviors may include expressing intense anger and/or physical aggression, asking about or actively seeking access to deadly means, such as guns, ropes, medication, etc., or making statements such as "I'm going to kill myself if." If someone mentions thoughts of harm to self or others, take them seriously. Calmly get information you need to get them help, such as their full name, location, and how to reach them. Contact emergency personnel to get the individual connected to a mental health professional as soon as possible. Some situations you should not handle on your own include when the behavior has become dangerous, in other words, suicidal, homicidal, or violent, or when you feel unsafe or worry someone else is unsafe. In those situations, you can get help by calling the University Police Department at 72222 or 911. You should also utilize panic buttons. Know where they are located in your workspace. Creating a supportive university. When creating a supportive university environment, it's important to work with accessibility services as needed, such as the Services for Students with Disabilities office on campus. Know the protocols and processes for students to receive accommodations and make these clear to students. Work with the accessibility service to arrive at reasonable and fair accommodations when they are needed. Ensure that your syllabus language addresses health and well-being as needed. Include resources such as the University Counseling Center, the CARE team, and services for students with disabilities. Ideally, faculty would include language on a syllabus encouraging self-care, potentially with resources like advising, accessibility, and counseling service information, and would indicate that they are open to a student talking to them if they are struggling with mental health issues. Consider the impact of deadlines and content of assignments. Faculty should consider not having assignments due at midnight, but instead at 5 p.m. or even 8 or 10 p.m. This demonstrates that self-care and sleep are valued and discourages students from working until late hours. Provide grade checkpoints where possible. Students can be overly stressed if they have no indication of their progress or success until a midterm exam. Giving students multiple grade check-ins throughout the semester as opposed to midterm and final only is recommended. If it fits, incorporate wellness into your curriculum. Consider ways in which wellness or other life skills can be included in class assignments. A writing assignment about self-care or resilience, a profile of a historical individual who successfully managed mental illness, a public health project in a course, and so on. Be mindful of exam timing management. Work collectively across departments when possible to ensure that students do not always have multiple projects due at the same time, or that there are accommodations for students who have multiple exams or projects due in the same day or week. Create social connections in class when and where appropriate. On day one of your course, give students the opportunity in the first few minutes of class to connect in small groups of 3 or 4. Allow space to share contact information and get to know each other so they can be buddies and support each other in the course if they need notes, want to study together, etc. Share resources at opportune times. Include information about campus resources, academic support services, but also other mental health or student support offices. When sending out communication around grades being posted, exam study guides, or during stressful times of the semester project-wise. Avoid stress-promoting language. Be mindful of language that normalizes high levels of stress or unhealthy coping strategies for students. Examples of this include, "Our upcoming test is very high stakes," "This is make or break time," or "My course weeds out those of you who aren't really fit for your chosen career." Don't cancel class if you can use it for something helpful. If you are not available for a class session, consider inviting a speaker from health promotion or other wellness resources to lead an activity or session with the class. Finally, create opportunities for faculty to share concerns and other helpful strategies with one another. Know your campus resources. Please know that there are a variety of supportive services available on campus. There are both private and confidential offices. It is important to understand the difference between the two. This slide highlights the different statuses for each of the following supportive offices. A private office is obligated to report known names or facts to the appropriate office. They share information on a need-to-know basis. A confidential office is not obligated to report all information. Information remains with the student and the source. The source is not obligated to report to the Title IX coordinator or anyone else unless there is an imminent concern for safety. As a university faculty and staff, it is important to be familiar with FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. The University Counseling Center, or UCC, provides a variety of direct services to students in distress. An important service is the availability of urgent same-day appointments for students, in addition to more routine initial appointments that might be scheduled a couple of days ahead of time. Third-party consultations are when a concerned person other than the student reaches out for information or guidance on how to respond to a distressed student. In addition to individual and group counseling, the UCC offers referrals for community resources and an after-hours service year-round. Community-based services at the UCC are oriented around prevention and partnerships to support student emotional well-being. The Let's Talk program provides opportunities for students to consult with a counselor without an appointment in certain spaces on campus to help create easier access for students. The UCC also works with student peer programs like mHope and Seek. The CARE team offers case management services. It is housed in the Dean of Students' office. The goal of the CARE team is to empower and attend to students' needs in a holistic way and provide wraparound services to all students in need. In case of an emergency, please contact 911 or campus safety. A CARE team referral is not to be utilized as a crisis emergent response. The 4 levels of case management services are consultation, advocacy, referral, and education services. Case management cases may sometimes be elevated to the Students of Concern Committee or the Threat Assessment Team. Faculty, staff, family members, students, or any concerned person can refer a student to the CARE team by filling out the referral form. The Students of Concern, or SOC Committee, helps coordinate the university response to students who demonstrate high-risk behaviors such as violence, threats to self or others, or are significantly disruptive. The committee also fosters early identification of concerns about students. Early review of problematic situations can reduce the impact to students and/or their classroom, social, or living environment. Lastly, the committee develops action plans intended to support the student and community safety, as well as prevent violence, support student development, and maintain a campus environment conducive to learning. If you are a student, friend, family member, faculty, or staff member who is concerned for a student, you can submit a CARE team referral. If you are unsure about bringing a person to the attention of the SOC committee, you should still continue to the referral form. Based on the information provided and the level of intervention determined, the CARE team will determine how best to support the student. The Violence, Abuse, and Rape Crisis Center, or VARC, is housed in a centrally located but calm, private space on the 3rd floor of Old Johnson Hall, where it provides a single place for students, or anyone, to report an incident of sexual violence. The VARC offers a variety of both private and confidential resources, and students can schedule appointments directly online via the website or email. Additional campus resources include the University Police Department, Binghamton University's Title IX Coordinator, the Office of Student Conduct, Services for Students with Disabilities, Residential Life's MSW Intern Program, and Binghamton University's Interfaith Council. The old saying, "You cannot take care of others unless you take care of yourself," is important in this type of work. You must take care of yourself, especially after supporting a student in distress. Examples of self-care include debrief with a trusted person, consult with other offices as needed, inform your supervisor of the incident and record it, or utilize EAP, the Employee Assistance Program. EAP is a worksite-based program designed to assist with identifying and resolving personal concerns and addressing productivity issues for faculty, staff, graduate student employees, and dependents. EAP is confidential, voluntary, and neutral. You can make a difference. When working with students in distress, remember to stay aware, trust your instincts, reach out to students who appear distressed, know your campus resources for routine and crisis situations, and spread the word to other faculty and staff by sharing these resources.